Welcome back. You are now watching We Talking Sports.
You can only play second fiddle for so long. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure Robin buffed up on Batman from time to time. You can't sit in the background and just be the sidekick for your entire life. So Scotty's firing back, and he had plenty of ammunition. And on top of it, he's got a new bourbon.
Like, I'm sick of it.
And he's got a book. You know, so he's promoting all this shit all at once. He getting all this off his chest at once. You know what I'm saying? And I ain't mad at him. And then on top of that, he's unfortunately had these issues with his woman or his ex running around with another NBA player. And it's just, he's been in the media for all the wrong reasons for the past 18 months.
Yeah, and also over that time, his son died too.
Oh yeah.
So,
oh man, it's just
Scotty,
sometimes you go through it, man.
Scotty might be going through a little emotional, whatever, and all of this came to remember Popeye. That's all I can stand.
Right, can't stand it. That's how I feel. That's how I feel.
But you know what? Me and Deion used to have talks about this, and Deion thought anybody could have played in Scottie Pippen's role. Maybe that's true.
Hold on, you gonna co-sign on that, DJ?
Hold on, let me finish. He thought that anybody can play in Scottie Pippen's role. What I'm going to say is, Scott, do you know they always had Scotty playing number 2? But I'll tell you one thing, the way I look at it differently. When they were on defense, Scotty was playing number 1. Scotty played. He was always guarding.
Not always.
Scotty was guarding their best scorer.
Not always. When they played Miami, Michael Jordan defended Tim Hardaway, and he was the head of the snake.
Okay. Against
Miami, and I get your point though. I get your point.
For their first championship, what did the tide change when he started checking Magic?
Right. And I get your point. He was an incredible defender. So I get your point.
And at the end of the game, Michael had all that.
I agree. I won't say anybody could have played Scottie Pippen, but other people could have played the role of Scottie Pippen. I do say that. I do agree with that.
Just coming from Scottie Pippen's perspective. Look, man, they've been talking this Jordan, me being Robin and all this. Dude, I was a bad motherfucker when we played.
He was.
That's what he's saying to himself.
Robin was a bad motherfucker. Robin kicked a lot of ass. Now, you know what I'm saying? Batman had the he had the pow. And he had the better what do you call it? Yeah, you know what I'm saying? He had the better sound effects. But Robin used to kick some ass too. So it's nothing wrong with being Robin.
So I got a couple of questions. So my first question is, I am looking at the stream right now, and I see Trey Love is rocking the Browns number 3 jersey. So is that one of the new players that switched to number 3, or is that like
a Brandon Wheaton? Is that Brandon Wheaton?
A Brandon Wheaton jersey, or is that like a number 3 from this year?
No, the bros. Everybody knows Trey Love was number 3 on the line.
Oh, there you go, Ruth.
On my jersey.
Ruth, okay.
All right, okay.
All right. There you go. Okay, so
why I'm number 3. That's why I'm number 3.
Okay.
Okay. Here's my thing on the Scottie Pippen thing. So, to me, I don't like that he did that, but for all the points that you made, I understand why he did it. So, to me, the locker room is sacred. I don't ever want to hear stories about the locker room. I'm not that. If you tell me a story about Michael Jordan had leg cramps but said, "Coach, don't pull me," okay, yeah, that's stuff that adds to sport. But I don't want to hear Phil Jackson is a racist and all. I don't want to hear that. If you didn't tell me that then, if you didn't boycott the game then don't come out with, don't air your dirty laundry.
No, I even respect that. I mean, I know a lot of people trying to say Scotty just, like, if Scotty felt like that, and to be honest with you, Scotty dealt with that man for years. What was they on the same team for what? At least 8 years, right?
No, at least.
Yeah, something like that. I mean, they won 6 championships in 8 years. So
right.
Yeah,
so at least 8 years. So my point is, if I can be in a relationship or interact 11 years, if I can interact with you for 11 years, and if I leave that relationship and I say that about you, there's something to that. There's some smoke to that. I mean, there's some fire to go with that smoke. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't just blow that off as him just trying to sell books or sell his bourbon or nothing like that. Because think about it though.
He's breaking up a little bit.
Yeah, you breaking up a little bit. You know what, D-Jack, we cannot hear you right now. I don't know. Yeah, we're gonna have to.
I'm gonna call back in.
Okay, you're good right now. I don't know if you're good right now. Okay.
So my thing is that, okay, Scottie Pippen, we would not know who he was unless it was Michael Jordan. Deal with the Lakers, but at the end of the day, we probably wouldn't know who Phil Jackson was if it wasn't for Michael Jordan. So at the end of the day, Michael Jordan was the sport. So Michael Jordan comes out with his ESPN show, whatever I can't even remember the name of it, but he come out with The Last Dance, and now Scottie wants to come out and say, "Oh, well, Phil was a racist. Michael Jordan was this. Michael Jordan." No, you don't do it. Scottie, you already
you do. You get some stuff off your chest. You got to get some stuff off your chest. It's like if you're Scottie Pippen, everybody else done told their story and got their perspective going. So let me get mine going.
Made their money. So I'm gonna say something that's gonna make me some money.
I think. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of it is about making your money.
Phil Jackson is a racist because now people are gonna buy my book.
But no. See, that was the point that I was trying to make. When you make a statement like that, to me, that's how you really feel about Phil Jackson. And a lot of times, I bet you if you were to really take the time and think about it in retrospect, some of your relationships that you had with people, you look at them differently.
I concur.
And particularly on what was accepted racism, let's say in the 80s and 90s, is not necessarily accepted in the 2000s and 2020s. But when you look back at that behavior, you say, you know what, that was racist behavior because your motives were on something else. So I don't know Phil Jackson, but I know this is not the first time there have been accusations against him as being a racist. What about LeBron James and the posse comments that Phil Jackson made and how all of that went over?
Oh, that's true.
What about his treatment towards Carmelo Anthony and how all of that played out in New York? So
I don't know that.
Again, there's smoke. There's enough smoke here to validate. I won't even say validate, but to say, okay, you know what, Scottie, you're not just trying to sell books. I could believe you have something to it. Not to mention, like I said earlier, you don't do that to a relationship that you guys accomplished so much. It was a long relationship, and for you to come out and say something like that, to me, it's brave.
Hey.
Because you calling him out.
You said it's brave?
I think it's brave because you calling him out on his behavior. You calling him out on
I think it's low hanging fruit. I think it is. Right now, the country is at a racial heightness, which is great. And so all of a sudden you piggyback on it. Why didn't you come out with this story in 95? Why didn't you come out with this story, right after y'all won y'all 3 championships? Why didn't you say he was
Let me.
But you don't wait 30 years. If my ex-wife had bunions on her feet and now we are no longer married and she writes a book or becomes famous, and then all of a sudden I say, well, shit, I want to be out. It's just like Kirk Franklin's son. Hold on,
dog. We talking sports, dog.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is now I'm jealous, or now I want to enrich myself, so I'm going to come out with a story that everybody's going to eat up. And I just don't, it just leaves a bad taste in my mouth.
Okay.
I don't like that.
Okay, Deon, I get where you're going from. But we're talking about Scottie Pippen's position, and he was always third fiddle, because it's Scottie. I know
rightfully so.
It's Michael. No, Scotty was a bad motherfucker. They always think that Michael didn't win no championships without Scotty, Dion. Only person
So what does that mean?
No.
What does that mean?
That means
LeBron James didn't win championships
Dion,
without James
you always
Jones.
bring
It ain't
in-
like James Jones was the
Dion,
reason why he
Well,
won
yes, he
championships.
did. Yes, he did. Yes, he
you're
did.
bringing in other people.
Okay. Yeah, let's
stick with
yeah.
Scotty, okay?
Let's
Scotty and Michael were a tandem as 1 and 2. Michael did not win any championships without Scotty. He didn't.
But
Michael
he would
said,
have.
no, but he didn't.
Okay.
But
So-
he didn't. And Michael said on what was it, The Last Dance, I never won no championships without Scotty. I needed Scotty too.
That's
we
true.
were a tandem.
That's true.
It's like he was the best teammate I ever had, the best player I ever played with. And everybody else, but Scotty.
It takes more than one to win a
and
championship.
Scotty just like right. I'm tired of these motherfuckers talking about.
No, it
Hey,
does
so
not.
so hold on 1 second. Speaking of championships, guess who's in the NBA Finals for the first time?
Chris Paul.
What number does he wear?
CP3, point guard.
There you go. There you go. Now, Deion, you can't never say that CP3 never got to the finals. That was your calling card why he wasn't a good guard, a good point guard.
So speaking of the point guard, I have to say,
Oh, he's
right
the point
here,
guard
so
now. Is that did
Yeah.
I just hear that?
Did you say
in
point
these
guard?
public airways,
Hold on a
I
second.
have to
Hold on.
say-
I'm trying to check my earphones. Can you
Yeah,
say that one
the
more
point
time?
guard.
Point guard.
I
Okay.
have to say that throughout Chris Paul's career, I have been very critical of Chris Paul because everybody put him on this pedestal that I didn't think that he deserved. But what I will say, and I have always said, when somebody reaches that point, I give him the credit. And I give him the credit. He is the reason. They have a great coach. They have a great center in Aiden. They have a great scorer in Booker. But every team has that. The difference in the Phoenix Suns is they have Chris Paul.
That's why they went
They
so
have
deep.
somebody that
That's why they
knows
on
the
this
game.
run. Right. I agree.
That's why they're on this run. They got a guy that knows the game, that knows how
Yep.
to play basketball,
Know how
and
to
put them in
close.
a position to win. So I'm giving him his flowers now because I have
Right.
been very, very critical of Chris Paul. And Chris Paul in year, 13, 14, 15, whatever it is for him,
Right.
he rose to the level where he took that team to the championship. Without Chris Paul, they're not in the NBA Finals.
Okay, up until this day, good. That's good news.
And you know what's crazy about it?
What?
I predict that they're gonna win a championship this year. Regardless
Well,
of
'cause
who
the
come
other
out
two
the
teams
East.
hurt.
Yeah, the other two teams are banged up. So I predict they're gonna win the championship. And then it's gonna be crazy because CP3 gonna win a championship, then he gonna bounce. He's going.
So I don't think that.
Hey,
I don't think that. But I don't.
He's going to New
saying that.
York. I'm
I'm not
telling you.
necessarily saying they're going to win
He
a
going to the
championship.
big city. I think they're gonna win a championship, and then he gonna bounce, and he gonna go to the big city. He gonna get that big contract to close out his career. And when you close out your career as a star in New York City, oh man, you done something. You done something. It'll validate the previous 15 years of his career.
How did that work out for Patrick Ewing?
Well, that was 30 years ago.
Yeah. Well, not only was it 30 years ago, Patrick Ewing is still a legend.
Yeah,
You talk New
Okay.
York Knicks, you talk Patrick Ewing.
Patrick
I
Ewing.
mean,
doubt.
we know he
Even
came
though
up
they couldn't- even
up
though they
short
didn't
to the
let him in the
hands of
Garden.
Michael Jordan.
Even though they didn't let him in the Garden and they didn't know who he was, but okay.
Well, I mean, you know,
Those people didn't know who he were, but most of the fans.
if you
did.
in New York Knicks lore, he's a legend. He's a
Yeah.
legend. And then keep in mind, he's a legend that didn't win a championship. If CP3, CP3 is gonna go to the Knicks.
Oh wait, you giving the Knicks a championship
No, I'm not giving them a championship, but I'm
with
giving
CP3? You giving them a championship?
not necessarily, not just with that one chip, not with that one. And when I say chip, I mean I'm calling CP3 a chip. Yeah, they're gonna need to do something else. But everyone knows that the NBA is better when the Knicks are relevant, and CP3. They were. I guess you could call them relevant this year, but he's gonna take them to the next level. He gonna take them to the next level. Then if they get another real star to join, then they'll be championship material. But CP3 gonna get them to the next level.
All due respect,
What
dog.
about
I hate
Julius
these
Randle?
ESPN cliches.
Say
The
wait,
NBA
say that
is
again.
more relevant. I hate these ESPN cliches. The NBA is more relevant when the Knicks are what? So the Knicks haven't
No,
been
I
good
said the
in
NBA
my
are
lifetime.
better. Dog, let me tell you something.
Why?
Because the NBA, I mean, the New York Knicks have such a strong fan base, and that's what makes organizations relevant. It's their fan base. That's what makes the Browns relevant. It's our fan base because it's all it's all throughout the country. It's you'll watch when you watch a program. Sometimes the people broadcasting and the people telling the story are fans of that organization because some organizations are as big as the sport itself. And when it comes to basketball, the Knicks are one of those organizations, like the Lakers or like Boston.
What do everybody want to go shine? In the Garden.
Right.
That's what Michael Jordan's favorite place. That was
it just is what it is.
Kobe's favorite place to play. Everybody want to shine
As opponent. Because none of those dudes signed to play with the Knicks.
Well, because they weren't fans of the organization because they knew that the organization was in disarray. But since they hired Leon Rose and Worldwide West, they've hired Leon Rose and Worldwide West, and they've changed the organizational culture. And they've hired Tom Thibodeau, who's a good coach, who's gonna force guys to play the right way. And because of that, they seem to be headed in the right direction. They made the playoff. They were the fourth seed this year.
Let's go back to. I'm not necessarily giving the Suns the championship though, because the one thing that I love about this NBA playoffs this year is teams are finding a way. You look at although the Clippers did not advance, they played pretty good without Kawhi Leonard.
Right.
And if you look at the Milwaukee Bucks, they played pretty good without Giannis. And if you look at Atlanta, they played pretty good without Trae Young. Now, I don't know how long Trae Young is going to be gone, but I'm not.
Well, I think Trae Young is going to be back this next game. I think he's playing tonight, actually.
Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and just let this championship play out, and I'm going to see who wins. I'm not going to just necessarily give it to the Suns.
I know.
But
we got to let it play out. We got to let it play out.
His P's for taking them to the finals.
But you know what's funny about that?
Think it's a slam dunk.
You know what's funny about that? That makes me think about what do you think about LeBron's comments about the injuries and relating those injuries to playing in the bubble and then this compacted NBA season?
So it obviously must be true because it's happening. So, yeah, to me, when LeBron first said it, sounded like.
Did you hear Shaq? Did you hear Shaq's response?
No.
Okay, well, yeah, you should have heard Shaq's response. And it's like, I agree with. So basically, and then again, I'm gonna summarize what Shaq said. Shaq was like, "You signed up to be an NBA player. This is the job you chose." He basically said. And again, I'm summarizing it. You signed up to be an NBA player. You practice for 2 hours a day. He's like, I know you got to take care of your body, but you practice for 2 hours a day. Then you play a 3-hour game. And then you take home a king's ransom that most people won't make in their lifetime. So don't complain about it. And I agree with that. But I also agree with what LeBron said, too. I just think what LeBron said is, I think there's some merit to it. He just shouldn't have said it because it's hard to accept coming from you, Mr. When you make, people are not empathetic when you make $30, $40 million a year about how hard you working for it. It's just the truth.
Okay.
Well, my thing with LeBron is that, okay, you went out, left Cleveland because Cleveland wouldn't get you players. And so you went to LA and you got to handpick the player that you want. You got to handpick you signed him on your team. So he's with Clutch Sport. And you chose him. You looked at all the players in the NBA and you said Anthony Davis is the best player in the NBA and you chose him. Well, unfortunately, Anthony Davis is injury prone. And so you didn't make the finals because you chose a dude that was injury prone. So I don't know if playing in the bubble was the reason why Anthony Davis got injured, or is Anthony Davis just fragile? So I do agree that probably going back to back, basically just playing 2 seasons in one calendar year, basically, and it probably wasn't in one calendar year, but in 365 days, playing 2 seasons was pretty tough. But I don't know if LeBron was the one that should have said that, just because of the fact that it sounded like sour grapes, because he said it right after he got put out. And what he said it right after Kawhi got injured, I think. Somebody got injured and he made it. So I don't know. To me, it just didn't sound right for him to say that.
Well, just in my opinion, he's speaking from his perspective. I told you this was going to happen, and I think he's saying without saying it. And I would be in the finals right now if you guys would have listened to me, because that's why we got injured. You know, it sounds a little bit maybe like sour grapes, but what he did say came to fruition. That's just the fact of the matter is, you see, I was just saying before we came on, Kawhi can say the same thing. We would be in the finals if I was playing. So, you know, those injuries just took its toll on people because they weren't practicing or they didn't have a chance to rest. So that's just the way I look at it. That's my standpoint from it. And as far as what Shaq said, I think it's just apples and oranges. He only coming from a perspective of the players. Maybe he should look at it as for the regular person who goes to work 40 hours and never will achieve that. But I don't think he was thinking from that perspective. And, you know, I think he was genuine. He was just saying what was on his mind. You know, he's not thinking about the average Joe. He's thinking about I should be in the finals.
But you need to when your audience is a bunch of average Joes, you need to consider who your audience is. So when you talking about, you know what I'm saying, when you make a statement that's kind of looking for empathy, you gotta consider who you're looking to it from. And you know, it is what it is.
Bron took advantage of the season starting. So, you know, the second half of the season at 36 or 35 years old.
Yeah, you're right. He did take advantage. And then he complained at the end. He complained at the end where it meant he had to play all of these games. Right. So you're right. He did take advantage. Then he tried to complain at the end. And it's like, yeah, you are right. But it's like, come on, dude. It's hard for people to feel sorry for you.
How did he take advantage? I don't understand. They played late. I mean, they played like late. When did they win the title?
In that bubble?
Because you said how did he take advantage? Because he's playing against 18-year-old kids that can run up and down the court forever, and he's 35. And he got an opportunity to take 1, 2, 3, 4 months off, and then finish with the last.
This be best, you know, like 2 out of 3. 2 out of 3, right?
Yeah. So he kind of took advantage. He kind of took advantage of having the last part of only playing the last part of the season fully healthy and going through the bubble. And then so the NBA said, hey, we're going to start this season just a little bit later than we normally do, but that only gives y'all a month and a half of rest. Well, his problem wasn't that. His problem was that he was dependent on Anthony Davis.
Right.
And Anthony Davis ain't nobody that's going to give you 82 games and then, what is it, like 20 games in the playoffs? You're not getting 102 games out of Anthony.
Not street clothes. Hey, but let me ask you this.
Hey, that is so funny that you call that dude street clothes. Bro,
right.
That was the funniest thing you said in 2021.
Was Patrick Beverly
street clothes?
Was Patrick Beverly trying to hurt CP3?
You know, I saw the video of that, but I really don't know the story behind that. What led up to that?
There's speculation that when CP3 walked past him, he said something to him. And I've watched that video a couple of times. And it's hard to see if he really said anything. But I mean, you can call somebody a bitch. And just, you know what I'm saying? You ain't got to see my lips move for me to call you a bitch as I walk past you, because it really does. Because it looks like you don't see his lips move, but Patrick Beverly's head snapped like he heard something before he went and pushed him.
So
And again, I'm not saying that was a good move, regardless if he called him a name or whatever.
Hey,
I don't like players like Pat Bev unless they play for my team. I don't like players like him because and Trey don't know this. So Pat Bev plays like Snook. When Snook can't play basketball, not Pat Bev can play basketball. I'm not saying that. Snook was not a great basketball player, but he was a dude that you love to have on your team. Because Snook was going to foul people, he was going to throw people, he was going to steal the ball, he was going to do all of those things that you really don't want to do, but you glad was done. But when you play a dude like Pat Bev, you know, who didn't he put Russell Westbrook out the playoffs, right?
Yeah, that one year he did.
Yeah, see, I don't like dudes like that. I don't like dudes that you really don't bring basketball skill to the table. You bring street ball skill to the table. And what you end up doing is messing up people's careers. You know what I mean? Wasn't that a situation where Russ and them was doing it? It was Russ and KD back in that time.
Right.
And they had OKC balling, and then you lose Westbrook. I don't like players.
What's the difference?
I don't.
What's the difference between him and that the guy that played for the Cavs? He used to foul everybody.
Dellavedova?
Yeah, Dellavedova.
He same thing. He got more skills than Delly, but same thing. Just a dude that's on the floor that really shouldn't even be on the floor. Like, you on the floor just because of the fact that you cause chaos. I don't like players like that.
Speaking of chaos, what happened with that whole Sha'Carri Richardson situation?
Bruh, your transitions are amazing. But it is amazing.
That's what you do. That's what you do.
Oh, man.
But, I mean, that's big. That is big.
So at the English
and
day,
it's like it feel impactful. It's like, here is this athlete that
nobody knew about 15 minutes ago.
And now truly hasn't really accomplished everything, but she seems to have caught all of our attention.
So we have to realize, and I don't think that we do, is that when you are ESPN is such this huge conglomerate, but just sports media, period, that these people are affecting the lives of our youth. So we have this Sha'Carri Richardson who went out and smoked weed, regardless of if it was legal, if it was illegal, regardless if you feel like, oh, it's just a little weed, it just ain't a little weed. That was the rule. And so when somebody breaks a rule and you punish them, and so let's say, for example, Sha'Carri Richardson has been working since she was 5 years old to go to the Olympics. But a couple of weeks before she went to the Olympics, she smoked weed. Boom. You can't participate. So that the kids growing up will know, hey, if there is a rule, I'm trying to get something, like say, for example, these college athletes that are trying to get into the league, that we're saying, oh, no, pay them now. Well, no, I don't agree with that. If there is a
but let me tell you the issue that I have. Let me tell you the issue I have with it, dog.
Let me finish my last point, dog. Let me finish my last point. If there is a well-written rule of how you do this, A, B, and C, to get to your final destination, you got to follow those rules. And if you don't, you have to get suspended. That is the rule.
I get that from a discipline standpoint, but it's certain rules and it's certain things in society that I have a problem with. And rules against, like, so first of all, marijuana is not performance enhancing. It's not performance enhancing masking. It's not a drug that will mask performance enhancing drugs. So it makes no sense to be part of this. And so if we all know historically, the marijuana was stereotypically associated with black people. And because of that, that's why it's classified as the level of drug that it is in this country. And so
Oh, come on, bro. That you can't throw that statement out there like that.
why can't why can't I?
That is not a fair statement to put out.
Why isn't
that
it?
is not a fair statement
Why
to
isn't
put
it?
out.
Why, if you understand
you're
history in
saying
this country, if you understand the history of this country, then you know that to be fact. Do you not?
See,
Do you not know
what
that?
what you're doing right there is the problem. Okay, so here's the thing, and it's again one of these you correcting a wrong with a wrong. Okay, so you're saying that marijuana should not be on the banned substance list. Okay, so now you're going to say, well, there is still a rule that all 1 million athletes around the world have to follow in order to get to the Olympics. But because we feel like marijuana shouldn't be on there, we're going to make an exception for this one athlete.
I didn't say that. I didn't say that.
What about
I
the
did not say
athlete
that.
didn't smoke weed
I didn't say
but
that.
didn't make it?
I didn't say that.
What about the athlete that didn't smoke weed but didn't make it?
Well, good enough to make it.
I didn't say that. I didn't say that.
Let me ask this question. Let me ask this question. Okay, so let's say that there are two athletes, and let's say they take the top. Let's say they take the top 5 players from the top 5 fastest times in the 100 meters, and they take them to the Olympics. Top 5 fastest in the United States. So what if number 6 didn't smoke weed? She wanted to smoke weed, but she didn't smoke weed because it was the rule. And so Sha'Carri Robinson or Richardson breaks the finishes number 1, but she didn't follow the rule. Are we now going to say, hey, number 6, although you did everything that was supposed to be by the book, we're going to make the exception to her because
I
she's
get that. I get that. I understand that. I understand that aspect of it. I'm talking about just moving forward because it's like some of the things, some of the laws or restrictions that are in place and that have been in place are based off of racist thoughts. They're ideals based off of racism. And I'm gonna give you an example.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give you hold on. Let me give you an example. And again, I try and keep this as close to sports as I can, but sometimes I have to deviate from a sports analogy to make it make sense. The crack laws, the mandatory sentencing around crack laws, those were designed.
Has absolutely nothing to do.
They were designed
that has
to
everything
lock
to do
black
with it.
people
Why
up.
can't you see that? Why it doesn't have nothing to do with it? It has everything to do with it. Those laws are designed to affect people of color.
Right.
If you
And I'm saying we got to get rid of those.
If you can't see that, what world have you lived in?
I'm not saying that the rules for crack were not racially, because we all know they were. I'm not
That's
saying
the point,
that.
man. That's the point.
I'm
saying crack. That's one example, dog. That's one example. There's plenty of them
that did not follow the rules, and so therefore she is disqualified. That is the only point.
No, it's not. I'm saying we have to, in order to move forward as a society, we have to correct the wrongs. And I'm not saying in her situation, say, okay, we'll make an exception for her. I'm not saying that because you're right. In this situation, maybe number 6 needs to go because it is the rule. But we have to correct the rules so we can move forward as a society. Because it doesn't make any. If the rules don't make sense, they don't need to exist. They should not have rules.
If I fail the drug test because I smoke marijuana, can I go take it to court and say, hey, marijuana is a racially, it should be legal, but because it's black, they should give me my job back? No. It's the rule. You broke the rule. You should not be able to participate. That's flat out bottom line. I get it. She's black. She's attractive. She's fast. She could be Usain Bolt. I get all that. But at the end of the day, the reason why you are Usain Bolt, or the reason why you are Michael Jordan, or the reason why you are LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, whoever, is because you followed the rule. When you didn't follow the rule, you got suspended.
So, no thanks to you though. In your train of thought, she can get an endorsement deal, so she can still make some money. And no thanks to you if these restrictions are corrected she'll be able to compete in the Olympics.
Yeah, Dan, if you had your way, dog, a lot of us would be fucked forever because we had to go to college for 4 years. We're not good enough, and if we make a mistake, because it's the rules, we can't play no more.
And it's like, just think about it. Just think about it. Hold on a second. Let me say one thing, DJ. Give me say one thing.
No, hold on. Let me say it. If the rule is wrong, then change the rule.
That's what I said. That's what I said. Change the rule.
3 weeks before the Olympics. The rule is not going to be changed. So at the end of the day, that is the rule. There is another Olympics that's going to happen in 4 years. All y'all Sha'Carri Richardson fans, I want to see y'all outside protesting marijuana. I want to see y'all. I want to see all y'all Facebook protesters who are now saying it was so wrong. I want y'all to use your voice to change that rule, because you're not. All you're going to do is sit up on your couch, get on your phone, and say, oh, it's wrong. Marijuana is wrong. It's black people, blah, blah, blah. No, it is the rule. If you want to, same as I'm saying,
DJ, we got to wrap up here, DJ. We down to our last 60.
If you want to change the rule, change the rule. You can't change it on a per-player basis.
Let me say one closing statement about Sha'Carri Richardson. This is why name, likeness, image is so important, because this young lady has captured America's attention. She's captured America's heart, and she should be compensated for it, even if she doesn't have necessarily at this point have the accolades of an accomplished athlete.
I don't understand why she should be compensated.
And we are wrapping up.
Hold on, one thing. If someone is willing to pay her, why shouldn't she be able to get it? If someone wants to pay her, why shouldn't she be able to get it?
I agree with that, but he said that she deserves to be paid.
She does.
She got caught smoking weed. She deserves to get paid because she's a great athlete, or because she got caught smoking weed.
Well, I mean, you tell a story, but it all starts with her being a great athlete, and the fact that she's a great athlete, she's captured America's heart, because then it goes beyond the numbers. It goes beyond her 100-yard time. It goes beyond that. It's who she is. She's captured our attention. Everyone can't do that. And with that, we're going to go ahead and wrap up. We are talking sports. We were talking sports. We'll talk it again next Saturday, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. 216-402-1315 is the number.
Have a good 4th, everybody.
Great show, bros. Have a good 4th.